Hey, Shawn here from 3M. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, what I'd like to discuss is when adhesives don't properly cure. So I'm going to show a pretty cool troubleshooting step so that we can eliminate some of the possibilities that may go wrong in that mixing process and identify what they are. So let's take a look at how to properly mix adhesives. Okay, a couple things I need to cover here first. First of all, make sure we're wearing our proper personal protective equipment. So for this video here, I'm going to wear a respirator, I'm going to wear some gloves when necessary, and I'm going to wear my eye protection. So make sure you're protecting yourself. You can have a long, healthy career and you'll be happier for it for protecting yourself. The other thing is keep in mind that these videos were designed for a professional setting like a body shop. If you have any questions regarding both the safety equipment and our warranties, there's a link in the description below. Today, for this demonstration, I'm going to use some adhesives. When we're using adhesives, especially structural adhesives, panel bonding adhesives, things of that nature, make sure you consult the OEM recommendations to confirm that you are using the correct adhesive for the job, all the way down to the correct adhesive for the panel you're working on. So make sure you double check that to be sure you're using the correct adhesive. Very important. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to talk about, once in a while we will get calls at 3M about an adhesive that didn't cure or took too long to cure. And the first thing I usually tell guys is I have one tip for you that's going to really eliminate a lot of the possibilities of things that went wrong. So usually what it turns out to be is something in the process where we're equalizing the cartridge or the first extrusion of that adhesive. So let's talk about a couple of things. I'm going to gear up with my gloves here. Now keep in mind this information here really could be pertinent to any two-part products. Anywhere where you have the chemicals mixing, it could pertain. So seam sealers, adhesives, things of that nature, it's all going to be the same thing. So in a two-part cartridge here, first of all, notice that there's a mix ratio of 2:1 with this particular product, okay? So if you extrude some of this product out without a nozzle, you're going to get twice of one side as much on that side as you are on the other. So keep that in mind. Don't let that fool you. Well, first thing I'm going to do is take this off the collar, get rid of this little plug. And the first thing I'm going to do is examine, just visually look at those ports. Now I can see the adhesive down in there, but what we want to do, especially on a used cartridge, you're going to find this a cartridge that's already been used and stored. Sometimes you may see some dried up material in those ports at the end. So I always used to have a little pick in the top drawer of my toolbox, or you can use an old drill bit, you can use a paper clip, whatever it is. If there is some of that material, just to pick that out. Very easy to do, but it's really important that we do that. So I'm going to load this into the gun, applicator gun here. And when I first extrude this, I'm really going to keep an eye on making sure that I have product coming out of both sides. So before we put the mix nozzle on, you've probably heard it a million times, we need to equalize the cartridge. That's what this is, right? So I'm making sure that I have the material coming out of both sides. Now for the overhead camera, you can see I have nice liquid materials, no chunks or anything that I need to be concerned about. So it's coming out of both sides. Get a paper towel here. It's also a good idea to equalize upwards, especially with thinner materials. But I'm going to equalize, and again, I'm looking to see that I have material coming out of both sides. And you'll notice I have twice as much of the black material coming out as I do of that caramel colored material because it's a 2:1 ratio. So now I know that I have material coming out of both sides. Now I'm going to put this mix nozzle on. And the other thing we want to always do is extrude a little bit of material, a couple inches or so, out onto the mixing board. There's a very good reason for this. So When the material first starts to go through this mix nozzle, there's only air in front of it. There's no material in front of it, so it shoots through the mixer really quick. Once it fills up with material, now there's back pressure on it that allows it to go through that mixer a little better. So that's why we want to put some material out as well. So let's say we think we did everything correctly, and I apply this to a vehicle, extrude it out, use it as I'm supposed to, spread it out, put everything together, and the material doesn't cure. Okay? So if you have a problem with that, I can tell you that it's most likely something in the process we just did. So there's one simple way to troubleshoot that and eliminate the possibility that it was those issues. So the easiest thing to do here, and this is the very first thing I would do in this process, if it didn't cure, is to make sure again that we have no blockage in there. Now I'm going to extrude this out on a board without any mix nozzle, just a little bit. Now the key here is I'm going to mix this by hand. So if I mix it by hand and everything cures fine, we know it was something in that process, whether the nozzle was plugged or there was an air pocket or whatever it is. Mix this thoroughly by hand. Of course, we want to mix it up really well. And allow that to cure for the stated cure time, or you could also accelerate it with heat for the stated cure time as well. For example, it may say 40 minutes at 150 degrees will cure that. So if that cures without the mixing nozzle, now you know the problem was in the extruding and the equalizing and the purging that cartridge. So hope that tip is helpful. Again, it applies across the board to any two-part products. Next time you run into that issue, give it a try, see how it works out. Okay folks, thanks for joining me for this demonstration. Please feel free to like the video if you liked it. Also leave comments below, questions, whatever you have. We do actually look at those and monitor those and try to give you an answer if we can. Also, please hit subscribe and ding the little bell, which will get notifications sent directly to you without searching for them. Also, you can visit us at Collision Repair Academy. There is a link in the description below. We'll see you next time. Thank you.